We are back again with another episode of Choosing Friends with Healthy Benefits. And we once again welcome Pastor Renat Raju to join us as we discuss. In the last episode, we spoke about the definition of friendship and different types of friendship. And we also looked at how we could discern good friendship from the bad ones. In this episode, we will be talking about how we'll be looking deeper into discerning, and Pastor Renat is going to share on the gift of discernment in terms of not just knowing how to decide between good friendship and bad friendship, but also be able to see the distinction and build a lasting friendship. So, Pastor, I would want to ask you, when we were speaking about discerning friendship, we were speaking about the three qualities that we should know who we are, we should know whom we want to make friends with, and we should also know whom we do not want to make friendship with. Okay, in this time and age when Facebook and Instagram and there's so many social networking sites that we get connected and associated with so many people randomly. We see their outside behavior, we see their outside way and walk and talk, but what is their agenda, what is their motive is hidden from our lives. How do we, in such a age where everything is so easily accessible, the information is so widely available, how do we discern who is the right friend? How can we know that this friend is someone who will last with us for more than a few years?
So, as a pastor and as someone who believes in faith, humans are not just it's not just flesh. It's body, soul, and mind. Spirit. For a normal person, we connect certain people on bonds.
Correct.
We just feel a vibe. I just feel good when he's around. So we connect with people around that way.
Correct.
And certain people are like soul bond. We say, oh, I feel good. It's like it's a bond kind of a thing, wherein it's not just a vibe. It's way beyond that. But when it comes to people who are spiritual and as Christians, you should also have your friend criteria. Not only should surpass the body, soul, but also should lead to spirit as well.
Perfect.
Because it's where the spirit that is there inside of me is the same that spirit that is there inside of you.
True.
If our spirit doesn't unite and if it doesn't testify to each other, it says one spirit testifies to another spirit.
True.
So what your spirit is will automatically testify to another person. If your spirit is wounded, if your spirit activates the fleshly activities, your friends would also do the same.
Very true.
It would, anointing doesn't just, or the flow of anointing that is there on you, if it is in a wrong source, it will fall on your friend as well.
Very true.
So in that particular aspect, discerning thing works where your friend leads you. Does he lead only in your bodily activity? Does he lead only in your soul activity? Or does he connects to you even in the spirit realm also?
Very true.
So a lot of people would think, oh, this is very cliche, why would I do that?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when there are moments where we sit all alone and think, what am I doing? In that particular moment, if you listen to this, it would make all sense. What is more interesting is, in that point of time, we are more focused about life, career, anything that we have done. But later, after the zone, we are all, it's like, okay, let's see what happens. We'll try. So discerning spirit works over there, where you are obedient to the spirit of the Father. That's why it is, when you read and understand the life of Jesus, we understand in such a way that he taught more than 3,000 people or 5,000 people. But when he laid hands on only 70. And when he wanted to teach something, he had 12 people. But when he had to share something from the heart, not even the 12 were around. It was just 3.
Very true. Very true.
The bond of 3. It's like, now, Jesus also says, you don't need always everyone around you. Sometimes the more higher you go, the closer the circle becomes. And that is even more helpful than having a big crowd around you.
Very true.
So this is what I think. What's your understanding?
I think not even 3. For me, it's 2.
Yeah.
Because the word says that 2 are better than 1.
Yeah.
and because there's a good reward for the labor of both.
True.
And it comes with not just a reward, but also comes with a safekeeping, because if one falls, the other is there to lift him up.
Yeah.
But poor is that person who has no friends, because he's alone, he falls and there's nobody to pick him up.
True.
So for me, if not at least 30, 40, 50, that's a big number. But I think it's easy to find one or two friends who will stick with you. And the Bible also said a triple cord is not easily broken.
Yeah.
So I think let's not just focus on the numbers,
Mm-hmm.
but let's focus on qualities.
Yeah. True.
Because when we start looking at the kind of people that we want to be,
Yeah.
is the kind of people that we would want to associate with.
True.
And the kind of people that we associated with is going to just impact our own lives, because we will be strengthened, we'll learn from their culture, we learn from their mannerisms, we learn from their emotions. Because one of the things that comes in helpful in discerning is that after you have discerned it, after you have distinguished it, you start to display and mirror everything that person does.
Yeah.
Because the Bible says evil company corrupts good habits.
True.
Which means even if you would have been good and you have good habits, one small germ can actually live in the entire curd. Which means a small bad apple will rot the entire basket of apples.
Yeah.
So even if you're good and if all your habits are good, one wrong friend in your friend circle can actually spoil everything else.
True.
So I think that has weightage, that has wisdom there. So when we are making friends, we need to be careful to keep the ones who are not going to grow, not going to, in fact those who are going to destroy our friends and our life, our families and everything, and even our dreams, to be out from our circle.
Yeah.
And I would like to also add that in all of these things, we would be having to be very careful in terms of how our good company, our good habits are blessed, so that we only look at those people who are blessing us and who are going to grow us, rather than people whom they are evil on the outside, but we are okay in forgiving. But sometimes that okay and that forgiving actually backfires on our lives, and we start to mimic and replicate. Initially it all starts with, no, he's just a good friend, he may be doing something but it may not affect me.
Yeah.
It starts with just a sip.
Yeah.
It starts with just a smoke, just a drag.
Yeah.
But then it keeps going.
True.
And very soon you realize that you are ending up doing much more than what your friend is doing, because your friend may have reached a maturity point. But here you are, I wouldn't say addicted, but here you are in a flow where you started off mirroring your friend in not just how he's eating or drinking, but also how he's speaking.
Yeah.
Because if he is using words, or I would say jargons, which are not healthy,
Yeah.
you start to latch on to those unhealthy words.
True.
And what it does is that becomes your vocabulary.
Yeah.
And because it becomes your vocabulary, you are an influence. I believe everybody has a certain kind of an influence. Some have a larger influence, some have a smaller influence.
Yeah.
Now you could be a mother, a father, elder brother, sister, and they could be young people who look up to you.
Yeah.
You may not know it, you may not be aware of it, but there would definitely be people who idolize you, idolize certain aspects of your life. And because they do that, you would be setting a wrong kind of a trend for them,
Yeah.
because of which, even though you're in control, even though you have got life sorted out, there will be people who may be not so much matured in terms of distinguishing these good and bad habits for their lives,
Yeah.
and they may start imbibing these habits into theirs.
True.
So what has happened is one person comes into your friend circle, you have kept your guard,
Yeah.
you have kept your distance, but you unconsciously mirror whatever that person is saying, how the person reacts, how the person responds to different situations, and you imbibe it in your own life, and that actually makes a chain reaction for all those people whom you are an influencer to. So when you look at it that way, that you are an influencer, so you need to be careful whom you are influencing and how you are being influenced.
Yes.
I think it puts more weightage on us to be able to choose wisely and choose friends with healthy benefits.
True.
So I want to ask you that while you have established that making healthy friends is very important, there are times that we want to choose lasting friendship.
Yeah.
there are times that we want to know that, yes, I like this person, I like to be around this person, or this person has an aura of his or her own, and I am always encouraged, I'm always driven, I'm always pushed to my limits to be able to just go and get the things done. How and where, or what are the areas or techniques that we would draw these kind of people into our lives and keep them? Because getting friends is not hard, keeping friends is hard.
So in that particular area, I would like to tell just two things that just really binds up this format of not letting go, or how long your friendship will start. First is, how do you imitate a person? If he's your friend, you'll start imitating him. You'll, as you said, if he has a good habit, you will automatically have a good habit.
True.
So I have had a lot of friends who have a lot of etiquettes while they have in and around the table. I'm a guy, I laugh a lot. I'm not that sophisticated when I'm in public. So there are certain friends who are like very strict and it's sit like this. So now I know how to sit when I'm in public. So for the initial period, it was too hard for me.
Correct.
Now when I'm in another circle, I imitate them. But not in a bad way, but in a good way. Now when people look up to me, they ask me, how do you do this? So the second thing that will last your friendship or that particular part is when you have a friend who also he's emulating for you. Emulating in the sense, he lay down his life, or he's helping to an extent wherein he himself will die for you. See, friendship at the end of the day is kind of a brother. It's not just that you tell him that he helps, but he's that brother who is not from the same blood lineage, but also always I wouldn't gender it as brother, but maybe a sister. So what will last long is this two factor wherein you both are imitating each other. Correct. At the same time. Correct. It's not caring about ourselves, but it's about letting go of ourselves to help that other person.
True.
So when these two aspects go hand in hand, that is when a bond will last long. Certain times of friendship doesn't last long is because of ego issues that happens in between. Certain times when I see you outgrowing me, I rather understanding how you grow, I tend to say that, he took my influence to grow, he took my friends and all stuff. But a real friend would never say that. He would learn your growth and help you to grow, as well as he will also grow. But a lot of people in this journey of friendship have ego issues, have certain transparency issues. Certain times they don't want to. They feel that this long friendship, if you don't connect for a certain period of time, you feel, he's not my friend. Then it goes away. This is what I feel. What's your take about it?
I think you covered it very beautifully, and I can only just just sprinkle a little bit of colors over there, but I will do it nonetheless to make it much more beautiful. Is when you spoke about giving in time, and when you spoke about being there, there's one thing that I would also want to highlight, and that is difference between imitating somebody and emulating somebody. Is I would go with the emulating part, as you had rightly pointed out, that emulating is to try to succeed to become better and better. And that is a much more better strategy rather than just copying somebody without knowing the foundations on which that person has been building his life, the kind of value system that he or she follows. When we start realizing what has actually caused this person to grow this certain way, without actually not understanding the kind of struggle that he or she has been coming from, we may not be able to actually put all of those things into practice and actually see the very results that we are seeing in their lives also. So when we start to understand them, understand where they're coming from, the kind of struggles that they have gone through to make themselves stronger, we may just be imitating and we will fall short, because when the real test comes, we may not know what actually our strength is drawn from. So I think emulating is better, because that will help us try to succeed all the more. And the second big thing is, when we're looking at lasting friendship, when I look back, I like to see somebody who's available for me. I like to see somebody who's there for me, because I always believe adversity in this age is just around the corner.
Yeah.
So being there for somebody, just as somebody is being there for me, is very important.
True.
And I know not everybody can do that, physically speaking, especially in these current times. But somehow, even if it is not physically, but emotionally and spiritually also, we have a gift of praying for each other. And it is better to have a person who's praying rather than not even having a person to even talk about.
Yeah.
So while you're being there emotionally, physically, technologically, you are there. You can FaceTime, you can WhatsApp call, or you can do different mediums of social media
Yeah.
to get connected.
True.
But initially, the connection happens through fire and through passion, and then later on, it starts fizzing out because there are a lot of different things happen, and people obviously get distracted,
Yeah.
derailed, as we spoke about earlier. But I think being available, prioritizing that person's presence, prioritizing that person's value, that I need to be there when the person is going through something, so that the person may never feel alone.
Yeah.
The person may never feel secluded, the person may never feel left out or rejected, because as it goes, the friend in need is a friend indeed.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that I would like to take to build lasting relationships and lasting friendships. And friendship is also in terms of the spiritual nature, because what happens is, in this current scenario, we kind of know from the word that a brother who has fallen into his sins and into his faults, we who are spiritual, or we who are matured enough, need to kind of help him out with love and with gentleness, so that that person would be saved. And the Bible actually talks about bearing each other's burden.
Yeah.
Now, bearing each other's burden actually is not just a command, it's also something that we are called to do. Because if I'm not able to bear somebody else's burden, then my usefulness in that person's life actually goes against my very essence of being called a brother for him. And the word also actually says in Proverbs that do not forsake your own friend or your father's friend, nor go to your brother's house in the day of calamity. Better it is that there's a neighbor nearby, or there's a friend nearby, than a brother who is far away. So I always look at it in such a way that my lasting relationships would be based on those who are available.
Yeah.
That even if I'm available for them and they're available to me, such are the friends that will help us in lasting relationships, to maintain a lasting relationship. And the best part is that when you start, over the years, as you mentioned about history, when you start associating it every single day, not looking at it that, okay, I've been here, I've been with this person for so many years, now it's more than enough. No, you start having a everyday or every ongoing relationship, and when you start caring, you start sharing, when you start spending time, when you start actually giving out yourself, investing time,
Yeah.
that's when lasting relationships happen. So, and I think when we come to a close, I would only look at lasting relationships in the kind of advice and counsel,
Yeah.
because we all need advocates.
True.
We all need people who can give us timely right advice, because actually the word actually says that ointment and perfumes actually delight our hearts.
Yeah.
Deos and perfumes. But the sweetness of a man's friend gives delight by hearty counsel.
Wow.
It's like if the man, if a friend actually gives good advice, it's good for the heart.
Yeah.
How much more is healthy relationship to a healthy heart?
True.
So I think that's the best thing that we could use to actually conclude this session, is that if we have friends who keep us on the track, if we have friends who align with our goals, common goals, with connections, and with the compatibility relationship that actually brings us closer to where we are headed, and with corrections and kind of wounding our hearts, but letting our hearts heal and get it in the right direction rather than being straight out, that is very much important. And I think one word for a good friend in this time is a humble friend.
Yeah.
A humble friend who teaches us humility by him being humble.
True. So, I think towards the end, what I would like to also share is, as you said, the verse is bear one another's burden. Bearing, in another word, is not carrying; it's supporting.
Wow.
A lot of people when they become friends, the things that they don't understand is you don't have to carry another friend. You have to support him.
Very good.
Lot of times the problem happens when you start taking up his responsibilities as your
Sure.
responsibility, and then when you poke him, you're not poking him, you're telling him, you're nagging literally.
Correct.
When you
Correct.
support him, it's like, no, it happens, come on, I'm on the other shore, come on.
Very
So
true.
when a lot of times the reason why a lot of friendship break is the other person is also blind and the person he's also with is also blind. So when two blind people walk, it's never a very good journey.
Definitely.
So what my takeaway towards the end as a conclusion is, learn to have a friend who has an eyesight, who has a vision,
Wow.
because someone has to see.
Yes.
Someone needs to be a seer. If both of them are blind, it would end right. So build a circle. It's okay to have less friends. If you have a friend, let him be a seer, or you be a seer. That is what I would like to say.
Wow, that's so amazing. On my side, I'll just like to say 4 words.
Mm-hmm.
All the 4 start with A. The first is be careful of the association that you make.
Yeah.
Always look at the accountability factor. So the second is accountability. The third is advice
Yeah.
or advocate. Have a friend who pours in wisdom in your life, who keeps giving you good advices. And the last thing is have a friend who's always there for you, who's available for you. So I think it was a good session and I really enjoyed, and I hope you did too.
I do.
And our friendship also has grown on a personal and also on ministry front. And I would wish each one of you to look at carefully interacting with your friends, in your friend circle. Look at how you can actually clear every kind of doubt in terms of not having any seed of bitterness rise up. Protect your friendship, because you need to build a friendship for a lifetime. Lasting friendships need to be a goal. So with that, if you work backwards, look at how we spoke about who you are, know the kind of friends that you want to be around with, and know the kind of friends that you would want to not be around with.